Rogers TV.
Join me over coffee as we delve into topics that affect our everyday lives. And today I'm in conversation with Suneet, who is the program manager for the Grey Bruce Settlement and Language Services. And today we're going to be talking about some updates around our newcomer community and how important they are, as everyone is, to be part of our community and integrate and bring their cultures, their traditions, their religions, which just helps to make our community more vibrant. And our conversation is going to focus mostly on the updates, as Suneet and I have had many conversations, and it's always a pleasure to talk to her. But we have lots to talk about. So welcome, Suneet.
Thank you, Mary Jane. And historically, it has always been my honor and a pleasure to be a part of any shows or the circles that you've invited me over here at Rogers TV. So thank you for the warm introduction and for having me back.
Always, it's such a joy. But you also have a wealth of information. But your talents have also have shown up in your daughter and her friend. And they have written this book called Pencil It In. And there is an amazing quote that I'd like to start off the show with before we launch into the updates, because it encapsulates so much of not only what you do, but what your daughter and her friend Isla, and I'm blanking on your daughter's name.
It's Gia.
Gia, of course. I have it written down here. It's in my notes. Gia, of course. Gia and Isla. And so what I have here, and it's from the book Penciling It In, which is a compilation of many stories from newcomers and how they've integrated into our community. The Pencil Project is to help create a sense of unity and understanding, raise awareness, and encourage others to join their efforts to make the Grey Bruce community a better and a more inclusive place. And you know that is so dear to my heart as well. So how has this book influenced the work that you do, as well as newcomers coming into our community?
Thank you, Mary Jane. And I am so proud of both Isla and Gia for taking the initiative to write a book, and that also on a topic that is, we always hear about equity, diversity, inclusion, integration. But what a wonderful way to actually say that, hey, here are the remix, or here are some pieces of work of real life experiences of people who have moved into Grey and Bruce, right? So what it felt for them to be in these areas, what were their experiences, how they made these areas their home. So when they both came up with an idea of writing this book, and I heard about it, and I was so proud. And I also feel that charity begins at home. So this was, I'm like, yes, you need to do it. So this book does contain a lot of good real life experiences and stories from newcomers of all age groups. Some who have moved into Grey and Bruce counties a couple of years back, some who have spent around 20 to 25 years, which is close to a lifetime in these areas, and how they integrated themselves and what made Grey Bruce their homes. So when we talk about projects like Penciling It In, I think these projects are an excellent way, especially coming out of two high school youth students, because I think schools are the foremost learning centers. So when our younger generation has this idea infused in them right in their foundation years of their education, I'm glad to think what these individuals would achieve in their lifetime and how it would impact the fellow students around them. So this book is really close to my heart, not just because it is written by two very wonderful human beings, both of them who are very close to my heart, but also very close to my heart because it is the work that I do in my day-to-day life. And for me, that work is also coming just not over the expertise that I gained over the immigration system over the past couple of years, but also as a first generation immigrant that immigrated directly into Grey and Bruce around 10 years back. So this March 31st, 2025 would have exactly been 10 years when I moved from India directly into Owen Sound. And I think that was the worst winter that had affected Grey and Bruce, this being the second that I have witnessed. So that's how I came here with, and most immigrants would go to some bigger cities like Toronto, which are usually the ports of entry for a lot of individuals, or they would go to cities where they have their families. But for us, we reached Owen Sound and there was no going back, there was no looking back. So my own lived experiences, the work that I do, and then the support that this amazing community has in terms of welcoming any new immigrant or any new individual that choose to come here is immense. And I think projects like Penciling It In, they are a key reminders of the collectives, of the stories, of the achievements, of even though some initial years are struggles, like for everyone, but at the end, I think most of the stories that I've read here, they are amazing replicas of success. Oh. So this is how I would say, like, how Penciling It In is all intertwined into our day-to-day lives. And initiatives like these should highly be encouraged, and especially coming up from the school systems, from our high school students, I think it's great.
Well, it's pretty amazing. I mean, the work that went into this book. But one of the things I'm thinking about as we're talking at the fact that it was high school students and that it's in the schools, many of the immigrant families and the newcomer families have children in the schools.
Yes.
And what is really important is that you need to see a reflection of yourself in any achievements that are going forward, so you can feel that, I can do this, I can be in that position. And even though we're attached to our families, we love our families, we need to see it from others too in order to reinforce and to feel that that face is familiar to me. I see this in my parents and I see this in my relatives, and now I'm seeing it in my schools as being validated.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
But I told you I wanted to put a plug. I'm tooting my own horn here for the show that Richard E. Sadowski hosted and I produced, and that was Our Stories That Unite Us, because we had wonderful women who came forward to tell their personal stories. And we had Olga and Kukreja and May Epp and Corrine and Anna and Lily Ann, who told 7-minute personal stories about their culture and traditions. And this is one of the ways that that I and Richard wanted to promote new stories in our community so that we can identify the human experience in all cultures and traditions and religions.
Yeah, and I think, Mary Jane, that was an excellent story and an excellent show that came up with all these wonderful women talking about their journey. And if you look at, we had quite a variation in that show. Olga from Ukraine, Anna from Ukraine, but both completely two different experiences, even though coming from Ukraine. One was a mom of 2 kids. One just starting up her life with her boyfriend, right? So what they had in common were the atrocities of war. So Khadija, who came from Turkey a couple of years back, but is now settled up in Grey and Bruce, right? And now she is rearing her children, like all her boys are grown up, like she's got 4 wonderful boys, right? Then we have Kareen, who's a master chef, and she is from Jamaica. And what willpower that woman has. So it's hats off to women like Khadija, Kareen, Anna, Olga, May, and Lillian. And Lillian, huge history. I met Lillian when she talked about the Greek history culture at one of the multicultural days last year at Grey Roots. So all these women, they are not just, when you listen to them, they don't just tell stories. They are walking experiences like of their lives. And that is what makes individuals like myself and individuals like to motivate people around them. So I think it's very important, again, like penciling it as an initiative, stories like these that you and Richard initiated. These are again excellent ways to have those voices heard, to have those experiences heard, right? Because these voices make us understand what is there in the community. And for new people who are walking into the same shoes where all of us were a couple of years back, that you're not alone. It is okay. It is okay to be scared. But at the end of the day, you'll find it home. So I think that was a fabulous series. And I think I did have a conversation with few of them after the show, and they were pretty excited. They're like, oh my God, now when I reflect on my own experiences, I didn't know I had achieved this much. So I think each individual is special in his or her way. We all have walked our journeys, we all have walked our paths, we all have fought our battles, right? But some of us more than some of them,
Yes.
but the battles are for real, right? And I think it's the motivation and the encouragement from the community with small initiatives like sitting here and having a chat that matter and uplift you.
Well, I am very grateful that the YMCA actually has the settlement services in our community, because not only do we want to have more cultures coming into our community, because it just makes it more vibrant and more interesting, but it's actually an organization, and this is what you do, is you actually welcome and help to set up folks into a more stable life, because coming into a new community from a different country, not necessarily speaking English, although we do have 2 languages, official languages, English and French. And so being integrated and having those support systems behind them through your organization, through your agency, then it really helps to stabilize their lives.
Yes, and I can totally relate to that, Mary Jane. 10 years back, when I first came to Grey and Bruce areas, there was nothing like the settlement services or a newcomer immigrant service provider like the Y. So everything that I had to do, even from getting a SIN number, we relied on one of our friends for all the information. And if he was busy with his life, we had to wait, right? So, but I think things are completely different. Ever since the Y started up the settlement services, we got the funding for this in 2020. And right after that, within the next 6 months, COVID hit. So even in COVID, we were able, in that first foundational years, the target was close to 200 clients that the YMCA assisted. And it was all remote, online. People would come to the office with closed doors, with screens, with sanitizers, with masks. But still, we were able to cater to a lot of needs.
200 people?
Yes. And on an average, because we got our funding in 2020 for 5 years. So the 5 years were up March 31st, 2025. So yesterday I happened to be writing my 5-year end closure report. So based on the stats, I think we've assisted more than 1,000 individuals over the past 5 years. At least 3,000 to 4,000 clients have walked into the settlement services doors for assistance with either schools, with assistance with employment, like with assistance with translation of the documents, or something as what I would find simpler for me, but is not so simple, is taking the public transit here in Owen Sound, which is again like I'm a part of the Owen Sound City Council, right?
Yes.
So I did get a chance through our services to take the Owen Sound bus way from downtown to Walmart, and it was an experience. So I think the services have evolved over the span of 5 years, and given the stats, there will be a press release on the stats shortly. I still don't have all of them compiled under one, but the graph has been uphill. So I think these were much needed services, especially when our catchment area includes the 17 municipalities across Grey and Bruce, 48 schools, that includes both the Catholic as well as the Blue Water District School Board schools. So and these are just not the counts of the people who are here on permanent resident status. We also see a lot of people who are here on work permits, closed work permits, on visitor visas, looking for services like swimming lessons, physiotherapy classes. So when I started working with settlement, we were like, okay, this is direct services. This is what we are going to do. This is what the ministry wants you to do. But is it only the services? No. It's altogether a holistic approach. I think the YMCA Settlement Services is a one-stop shop for you need assistance with housing, you need assistance with employment, you need assistance with navigation with the ministry for filling up a form. We are there. There are kids who are high school students. Our Swiss team assists them in not only organizing them the volunteering hours, right? So if you're new to the country and you end up in grade 11, right, as a part of your credit, you need those volunteer hours. So again, we try to look within our own in-house departments like employment, the HFA, to find volunteering roles for high school students. If they're looking for a job, yes, babysitting is the first thing that comes into place. So having them sit at the Y with a computer, completing the babysitting certificate, right? Then finding them meaningful employment. So all these kinds are some of the supports that go in terms of kids. Registering children in the camps, especially if you're new to the area. As a new mom, in 2015, I had no idea what camps my daughter could go to, right? So she didn't go to any camp. So we spent a year, but then after a year, she went to the YMCA camps and the Grace Sobel Association camps. But again, like if you are a new person to the community, you don't know the language. We do have, as you mentioned, 2 official languages, English and French. But not everybody that comes into Grey and Bruce is proficient in both the languages, right? So again, navigating like, okay, you've come here during the summer season. So the parents have employment. What about the kids? So let's find camps for them. But we don't have, camps are expensive, right? Then associating and trying to find the subsidies. And we have such amazing community groups like the Jumpstart, Big Brothers and Sisters, like the YMCA Financial Assistance Program, the Grey County Financial Subsidy Programs for kids that actually enable children to go to camps without having that financial burden on the parents. So again, it's a holistic approach that we offer here at the Y. So I can't think that how this place would be without the ministry's decision to have the settlement services here in our rural communities. Because if you go to bigger centers like the GTA, there is support in terms of transit, there is support in numbers. You have groups that speak the same language, but it's all not here.
Well, this is one of the concerns too, that I'm not sure how people managed before the settlement services. I mean, for you were saying it was really challenging for you to just get simple things done so that you could integrate into the community. Like, it's just boggling my mind. I mean, I always knew that settlement services was important, and there were groups wanting to come together to support newcomers, whether that was a volunteer group or now a more official organization. But it must have been, because we've had people in our community from different cultures here for generations, and the startup would be just horrendous trying to navigate all the different systems. I mean, just filing your taxes can be a nightmare. I mean, even for everyone, it's just a nightmare. Pardon me for bringing that up.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, just all these little things we don't even think about. But the other thing I was going to mention too, like, I'm so impressed with your numbers and your statistics, but finding the foods that were traditional to you, what you were used to. You're coming into a community that doesn't necessarily have the same ingredients that you're used to cooking with. So how do you navigate that?
That's a very good question, Mary Jane, and I'm so glad you asked that question. Because when I moved here a couple of years back, and so most of the grocery stores here, I never saw any kind of ethnic food, not just the Indian ethnic food, but even anything to do with different cultures, like Greek food or Jamaican, Eritrean, Syrian, or something with the South Asian countries. So you would only find the basic staples in most of the grocery stores. And I remember people traveling every weekend. So we had friends in the community. So, hey, if you need so-and-so, you need to go all the way to Brampton, or you need to go to Mississauga. And most of the Syrian community would go to Guelph or London to pick up some of the supplies there. And because different cultures, there are different dietary constraints. For example, in some cultures, individuals would eat only halal meats, right? So I never saw any halal meats anywhere in our grocery stores.
I'm not even sure I know what that is.
Yes. So over the time, I think the things have changed. And with awareness, with a community outreach, we did reach out to a couple of the grocery stores as well. Hey, how about you introduce this? And then one thing that's really changed is the number of people of different cultures working in different grocery stores. So when you have staff of a particular culture and ethnicity working in a grocery store, and when you hear from them that, hey, we have this population, right? And this is what is the staple. And this is something we need to keep in our stores. And I think most of the big box stores have been really accommodating in bringing those items here. So right now, I can say that most of the ethnic foods, as far as a lot of cultures that come to our doorsteps, and we provide them that information. Food Basics has a complete aisle dedicated to international food. Loblaws, Zehrs, and No Frills has a store. There's a brand new grocery store that offers Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Indian, and some Asian groceries. I think it's near the fire hall. So again, so you see that, right? So, and this wasn't a site a couple of years back. So if people wanted, people came to our services. A part of our services is you have to make a client that walks into your office fully aware of the resources that are available into the community. That includes the transit, schools, including the French schools, because it's our duty to tell a client that there is a school that is completely French speaking, and it's your choice where you want your kids to go. Based on the school system, then based on where you live, which is your nearest grocery store. So I still remember having that presentation to a group, and the presentation is called Orientation to Canada. So we are mandated by the ministry to do 6 of these presentations over the year. So the first one is Orientation to Canada, where you talk about all the provinces, so that folks coming to Ontario, if for some reason they wish to move out of Ontario, they know where they're going. Then it's Orientation to just Ontario. So what are the hidden gems that Ontario has, right? So what are the places, where is our parliament office, which is our capital? All that stuff is covered. And then comes orientation to Grey and Bruce. And that's my favorite because I never realized that Grey and Bruce has so many things that an individual needs to know, learn, and actually see, right? That includes which is the nearest hospital, right? Oh. Where is the emergency? How to apply for a doctor? What if you don't have a doctor, which is a case for almost a lot of our folks in Grey and Bruce? Does not matter if you are an immigrant or a Canadian citizen, right? So, but if you are in case of emergency, you can go to a walk-in clinic. If you don't have a walk-in clinic, how to go to the emergency? We've had clients call us from the emergency, I don't know how to fill this form. So staff will go there, sit with them in the emerge, fill up the forms, and navigate the entire system. So this is orientation to Grey and Bruce. And it also includes a walkthrough to all the nearest grocery stores. So usually when they first come here, we'll give them, if we have, because we do rely a lot on donations. So each time somebody makes a donation to the Y, and it specifies that it needs to go to settlement services. And we have a new family that comes and they need to go to the grocery store. So we'll give them a gift card, a grocery card. So again, telling them, theirs is a bit pricey, might want to go check the flyer and go to Food Basics, right? So these are some of the things that we end up doing at settlement services. And yes, a very good question about the food, which has definitely evolved over the span of 10 years that I have been here.
That's amazing because food is such a unifying thing. I mean, and it's comfort. I mean, going into a new community, and the one thing that you want is your favorite food from your culture, and you can't find the ingredients. I mean, if I was traveling and immigrating to another country, the first thing I would want was mac and cheese. And what do you mean I can't find mac and cheese here in this country? It's your comfort food that's so important. I am absolutely blown away. I learned so much from you, Suneet, in terms of what's happening. And I am so grateful that we have this settlement services in our community, and the work that you're doing is absolutely incredible. And now it has become integral in our community, which is so important. And you have given, I have learned a lot from you, and I thought I knew a lot. when we first started, because I've been, this is so important to me personally, that people are welcomed into our community and feel that this can be their home going forward.
Yes.
So thank you so much. And please join us next time on Over Coffee.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details. Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
It's time to get a little messy.
Thursdays, Top Chef heads north.
Welcome to Toronto.
And when the competition hits Canada,
Poutine.
They're here to fight for over $500,000.
A lot of dough on the line, right?
there are no apologies allowed.
Am I missing one? Oh my God. Woo.
Sorry, not sorry.
My job's not done until I win.
Am I confused?
Top Chef, all new, Thursdays at 9 on Bravo.
With clubs, leagues, and courts in every province and territory across Canada, squash is the sport for wall-to-wall